Hey everybody, you listen to the Katana Podcast with me, Invisible Katana. This week I wanted to take time to kind of just reference some random nerdy things that I really want, like some really big items, some smaller items as well. But they're just those really big nerdy items that you've seen them either they're from like really old movies, so they came out a long time ago, or it's something a bit more recent and it's just like, man, you saw that really nerdy thing, you're super nerdy, and because it's so incredibly expensive or it's super rare, so once again, it goes right back to being expensive, you just don't have it yet, but it's something that you kind of strive towards. It's one of those really big nerdy things, and I want to know what some items are that you guys really want, whether it's like a top 10 list or 5 or 3 or just that one big item. I want to know what you guys have kind of coveted after in the nerd world, like what big items you've seen, whether it's realistic that you get them or not. What are those really big things? I want to kind of compare my list to yours. You guys can of course tell me what you think about some of the items I'm gonna rattle off of my list, and I would like to apologize in advance for adding items to your list because there are gonna be some things that you guys might like that you may not have ever heard of. So I apologize in advance for that. I'm sure I'm gonna find some items if any of you actually put some lists down in the comment section below. I'm sure I'll end up finding some random things like, crap, I didn't know that existed, so I'll have to add that to my list as well. But to simply start things off, I kind of have to do it with Back to the Future. It's my, Back to the Future Part 2 favorite movie. That's why I got the hat and all that stuff. With it being 2015, I want to really be able to celebrate Back to the Future Part 2, in the right way, like as best that I possibly can. So the two really big things that I want to get this year are, of course, the hoverboard. I've always wanted that. I wanted that ever since I first saw the movie. That was the big item, and I think that it was kind of that way for everyone. Like, there are a couple of cool things in that film. Of course, it's like almost impossible. Like, you can't just like get a DeLorean. Like, I want a DeLorean, and boom, you have one. But like the hat from Back to the Future Part 2, which I never really looked for it, but when I finally found it, it was just like, completely random, so of course I had to get it. But I always wanted the hoverboard. Like, it looked really cool, even though it was like, and that's like one of the funny things. It's one of those things, like, you saw it even in the film, it's like this little girl's toy, but it's not that anymore. It's like an iconic movie piece now, and it's just amazing. So I really want to get one of those. The other thing I really want to get, because I kind of have the hat and I want to have like the whole outfit, is the jacket from Back to the Future Part 2 as well. I'd love to somehow get those Nikes, but that would be like almost impossible. Those things, that's one of the things that's really unrealistic. I think it's pretty easy to get the hoverboard for, like a fairly decent amount of money. I don't think that's going to be too hard for me. And the jacket probably won't be impossible either, but like those Nikes that they came out with, which were really cool. I remember when that first happened too. I was like, holy crap, they made like the Nikes, and they of course don't have the auto lace, but they do light up and they look really sweet. And it was amazing to see that. And those things sell for like thousands of dollars on eBay. I looked it up one time just to see, like, I wonder, if these are on eBay, and of course they are, and they're a buttload of money. So that is, unless I somehow get like a ton of money, which you guys may or may not be able to help with, tell your friends and ask them to watch all my videos. But aside from that, it would take a lot for me to get a bunch of money and really be comfortable. Like, I would have to have a ton of money to be comfortable spending almost 2,000, 3,000, like some crazy amounts of money on some replica shoes from my favorite movie. Like, as much as I love the movie, it's not like they came off of Michael J. Fox's feet or anything, and it's not like they have, actual auto laces and stuff like that. But I would love that whole setup. It would be amazing to get that. And like I said, the shirt or the jacket and the hoverboard probably wouldn't be too difficult. And I think under that he just had, like, he has some blue jeans on, so easy enough. But I really do want the jacket. The jacket I actually think looks cool, so I would wear that even without it being for, some reason to celebrate Back to the Future. I think personally, at least, it's a pretty okay looking jacket. It might not exactly be super warm, especially since they were kind of had it in the movie, but that doesn't really mean much because, people film in like 20-degree weather, and it's like, God, it's so hot outside. So you never really know how it felt on, the actors when they wear stuff. But I would love to get that, love to get the hoverboard. If I had to pick out of those two, it would definitely be the hoverboard. I wanted that. Like I said, that was the big thing when I first saw it. it was like the DeLorean is super awesome. It is a really cool car, and of course, it looks unbelievably awesome when it's souped up like that from the movie. But the hoverboard was that first thing. Like it could be the fact that it's a hoverboard. It's like the simplest thing. Like you have this time traveling machine, but the one that really catches your eye is just this simple little floating skateboard. Like that's all it was a children's toy, and it's just a skateboard, and that was it. And I don't know, maybe that's why it catches people's attention so much, and maybe that's why it caught mine. So that's what it is. That's like one of the big things, is definitely a hoverboard, which I will be getting this year. I don't know exactly when, but I'm definitely going to get a hoverboard. I may or may not end up getting the jacket. I want to make sure that I do, in order to fully celebrate Back to the Future when I can. But without a doubt, I'm at least getting the hoverboard this year. Like there are no exceptions to that. I'm definitely going to be getting the hoverboard. And to kind of leapfrog off of that, which is just like kind of has nothing to do with Back to the Future, there is an actual hoverboard now, and I believe I talked about this in a couple of podcasts when I was talking about like Back to the Future, because it's 2015 and all that. I would love to get one of those too. I believe it's called like the Kendo or Hendo hoverboard. It definitely looks cool. You can only use it on like certain surfaces, and once again, that costs a ton of money because it's a brand new invention. But that looks really cool, and I would love to get one of those. That I probably won't get. That's just like a random nerdy thing. Like it seems pretty cool, but it's like nowhere near the other items that I'm going to be mentioning on my little, random list. It's just like, I found out about that recently, and it's an actual hoverboard, so it looks really, really cool. Another really big item, and this was something I saw, I believe it was last year. It may have even been the year before that, and it's actually like a giant coffee table that's in the shape of an NES controller, and it's actually playable. And when I found that out, and this I found out on Vsauce 3, I believe, and so definitely check them out, because they have this thing called Game Loot, and you'll find all sorts of amazing websites that sell all sorts of incredible nerdy gaming type stuff, and not just gaming stuff, games, anime, movies, all sorts of pop culture type things. So definitely check out Vsauce 3, check out some of their Game Loot videos. I'll probably add one in the description below, so check that one out. But when I saw that, and I've looked up prices, they also have a Super Nintendo version for that as well. But the Nintendo one just looked cooler to me, because the Super Nintendo, a giant version of that just kind of looks a little weird, because it's like a curved controller and stuff, and it has like, it kind of goes in at the bottom like a lot of controllers do nowadays, but it's not nearly as evident on the old Super Nintendo controller. But the NES one just has like a specific style to it that just looks great. Like it fits perfectly as a coffee table, and I'm really weird about symmetry and stuff, so I'd much rather have something that's completely symmetrical, and it's like, boom, here's just a nice flat rectangle, compared to the Super Nintendo controller, which has like the curves and stuff like that. It would look weirder, much weirder to me. And also, I wouldn't like the color as much as like a giant gray table with purple buttons on it. It doesn't exactly appeal to me nearly as much as a giant gray controller that has like a nice black surface and just like big red buttons. And I feel like those colors complement each other much more than the gray and purple do, even though, of course, it's hard to deny the fact that purple completely stands out from gray, but it just doesn't look as cool to me. And like I said, also the symmetry of it, like the big complete rectangle of the regular NES controller looks way cooler to me, and also the color does have a big part to do with it. But when I saw that, it definitely blew my mind. It was like, this is a cool controller. I've seen a giant NES controller before. I remember years ago on Attack of the Show, they had like the largest NES controller ever made, and they also had the smallest NES controller ever made, and they had like two people go against each other, which is pretty cool. But having like a giant coffee table, and it has like glass on top of it, so it's not just the controller and you just sitting stuff on top of the controller. So it has like an actual big sheet of glass that goes on top of it, so that you can use it as a regular coffee table without kind of spilling stuff on the actual giant controller, which would probably cost a lot of money to replace, admittedly. But it looks really, really cool. I love the design of it. It's it's an NES controller, so odds are the design. There's nothing added to it except for some legs to keep it up, and the little glass, I guess, covering on top of the actual controller. But it's really cool. Like, it looks sweet, and it is a functioning controller, which is definitely the big appeal of it. You can plug it in the TV, and then I actually have an NES, so it would actually, I could plug it into my NES and play my NES games, which is pretty cool. And it's just, like I said, when I first saw that, it just blew my mind. I was like, I have to have this one day. And it's about $2,000 from what I saw. So at some point, I'm going to get that giant table. Like, I don't know when. It might be way down the line, super far into the future. But I have to get that table. It's like, that honestly is the number one thing, even more than the hoverboard, which I want to get mostly for Back to the Future, of course. But that controller, it's, in one way, it is an actual coffee table. So it's like, it does have multiple purposes, technically. But it is something like just a giant piece of just nerd culture. And like the hoverboard would be like a tiny little thing that I get to, kind of lean against the wall, and it's like, oh, look at that. And, it would honestly be a lot like a poster or a painting or something. And you kind of just sit it somewhere, and that's about it. But when you have something that you have to use, like if you bought like a giant TV that was like, I don't know, somehow decked out to look like, Soundwave or something from Transformers, like the original Soundwave, not the Michael Bay one. But, if you had something like that, it's a little different because it's something you use all the time. So that's like my big item, to just throw that out there, is like the giant NES controller. So, once again, to really apologize if you didn't know about that and it interests you. I really apologize because, like I said, it is like $2,000. If you have the money, I would highly suggest buying it because it looks amazing to me. But of course, not all of us, including myself, of course, have just thousands of dollars to just be like, yeah, I'm just gonna be ultra nerdy and buy this giant NES controller. But it looks amazing, and without a doubt, I want to have that at some point in my life. This just giant NES controller coffee table that actually works. So that would be pretty cool. Another really big thing that I've wanted for a very long time, even before the NES controller. Most of these things are actually before the NES controller, because I just, like I said, found out about that about last year, maybe like towards the end of 2013. But I don't remember when I first found out about these, but when I found out about the Star Wars FX lightsabers, I always wanted one. Like, they looked really cool. I love Star Wars. I've seen all the movies. I have like the special edition on video and on DVD, like the special edition, I guess. And I love Star Wars, like a ton of people do. And I have all the, like, well, not all the toys, but I have like a ton of the toy lightsabers. I still have one from when they did re-release the original films, when they released them as the special edition. I still have my Darth Vader lightsaber. Unfortunately, it broke, so it's just the hilt, and it's not the actual saber portion, but I do still have it, and I still mess around with it every once in a while. I'll pick it up and, just turn it on, because really now it's just a flashlight. But I still have that, and I still love it. I had all three of the lightsabers when episode 1 first came out. I had the Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, as well as the Darth Maul lightsaber. I have no idea where any of those are, oddly enough. I actually somehow lost those. Like the Darth Maul one, I remember that specifically broke because me and my friends were kind of getting serious, and we were like playing around doing the scene, and my friend hit it hard, and I was like, wait, and it was already broken. I was like, this is my, the double-sided lightsaber is my favorite, and when that came out, I was like, this is the coolest thing ever in all of Star Wars, which is why, admittedly, Phantom Menace is kind of my favorite one because of Darth Maul, and that's kind of like a lot of people. It's like Darth Maul, and that's about it. He's just super awesome, and it's a double-sided lightsaber. It's really cool. But sadly, all three of those are gone. I do believe I may have broken all three of those because when I was younger, I didn't really, play around with them too much. So when like Phantom Menace came out, which was like in 2000, I was old enough to, kind of have enough actual physical, force to be able to break them and stuff. And I think that's what ended up happening with like all three of those from that movie. And I still have the two lightsabers I got from episode 3, so I have Anakin's and Obi-Wan's. But the FX lightsabers, when those were announced, they look really cool. The way they light up is really sweet. They have the great sound effects, depending on where you get them from, because you can still order some really great ones. They cost, once again, these cost a lot of money, not nearly as much as, like in the thousands, but they cost a couple of $100s, especially depending on how you get them. You can get single sabers, you can get double-sided sabers, you get to customize them with certain colors, and you can have it where you can get like all colors in the color spectrum and all these cool things, which I recently found. I think it's called like saberforge.com or something like that. And I was on there one day just looking at stuff like, man, I didn't know this website existed. I didn't know I could still get these things. And for a couple of days I was just looking at all these FX lightsabers. Unfortunately, Mattel themselves, it's either Mattel or Hasbro, it might be Hasbro, whichever company it is, unfortunately they stopped making it themselves, which really does suck, because it's like now you can't really get them brand new. So that really does suck for people like me, because I always like to get stuff brand new. I hate getting used items, and except for like really rare cases. Like the microphone I'm using now, my Blue Yeti, is actually something I got off of eBay used, and the box is completely messed up, but the microphone itself works, and that's really all. That's the main component of that. And plus the Blue Yeti is like $100 and something, brand new. So I was like, in that case I can go used. And I think even with the FX lightsabers, even if you get them used, because they aren't being made anymore, they are still fairly high priced. It's a little difficult to just go out and be like, all right, I just want to get this even used, because they cost a little bit of money now. But I do want one of those at some point. I would love to have my own FX lightsaber, and they just they're really good. They take a lot of hits, so you can actually use them in filming, depending on how crazy you're getting with it and how many people. Like if you have a double-sided lightsaber, I don't know how that may or may not work with both ends being hit at once, and it applies pressure and all this and that, all the physics of it. But those things do take a lot of hits. I even watched a video where a guy was like destroying his and stuff, and of course tons of people were really mad at him for it. But they take a lot of hits. They look unbelievably beautiful. They're like incredibly radiant, just like the actual films. They have like actual motion sensors in them, so they change sounds as you're moving. If you move faster, they it sounds like the movie and stuff. And it's really cool. Like I love that. And when I first found out about that, it was like this is the pinnacle of lightsaber technology, is as far as the real world goes. I don't know why I couldn't spit that out for some reason. But when I found that out, it was just like, that is the coolest thing ever. They light up, they have the great sound effects. And I remember when I was really young, I think it had to be like in the year they were first created. Like when I first found out about them, I actually saw one before at like Best Buy, and of course I couldn't possibly ask to get this like $100 thing. And I wish I kind of thought about it now, thinking back on it. I wish I kind of thought about that for like some point during my life, and as around Christmas, like, hey, I don't really need all this other stuff, but if I could get like a really cool FX lightsaber, that would be amazing. Because I definitely, I have to assume at least certain things you take care of a lot. Like I still have the lightsabers from episode 3, so I like to think I'd still have that around today. I would really hope so. But that's something I would love to get, and because you can get them off of custom websites now, that's not too hard to get. Like the actual FX lightsabers from like Mattel or Hasbro, like I said, I don't remember exactly who made them. It's a little difficult to get those now, because you'd have to buy them used. You'd have to get them off eBay, with whatever issues come with that. But you can at least go to personal websites, and people can make them for you. Like I said, the one I went to, which I do believe is Saberforge, I'll of course add a link in the description below for that one as well. When I found that website, it's like, you can get this design, you can get that design, you get the specific type of colors you want, double-sided, single blade, all sorts of stuff. And it's really cool. You can get stuff without sabers. You can get the more expensive ones where you can take the saber out and just have the hilt, all sorts of stuff. So it's definitely really cool. You can still get them. And it's just, once again, one of those things that I really want. It never, it kind of left my mind, because admittedly I did forget about it. It's a little easier to forget about stuff that comes from movies when you don't watch the movies as often, or this specific type of item like those special lightsabers aren't really mentioned as much, because I believe I only heard about them on TV, honestly, like one time in my life. And I don't know how I ended up seeing it on this, but I'm pretty sure it was like on Entertainment Tonight or whatever, and it was like the end of the episode, and it was definitely somebody else was watching it in the house, and I just randomly came across like, those are lightsabers, what the heck is this? And that's how I ended up seeing them, and that was it. That was the only time I'd ever actually seen them on TV. I think maybe I may have seen them like one other time, and that may have been on G4. And it's just crazy. So like, it's one of those things that you would easily forget about it, but once it's in your mind, it's like, crap, I really got to get me one of those one day. So I definitely hope to get a really great FX lightsaber, and maybe I'll just make some silly videos with it, just playing around, because I definitely will, just like anyone else would, because why else get a lightsaber? But I really can't wait to get one of those at some point in my life, but unfortunately not too soon. My next item is definitely something that is a fairly simple one. This is like, honestly, probably the two simplest things I can mention on my list. I want a PS4 and an Xbox One. Like, those, as simple as they are, I could easily get one. Well, no, I shouldn't say easily get one. They're much simpler, I guess, and technically those cost more than some of the other stuff, but there are of course a lot of factors in buying any sort of nerdy item, because it's like, okay, I could get the FX lightsaber, which could be maybe $130, probably more than that. I think the prices I saw were like pretty insane for what I was looking at, but I could spend like a couple hundred on a really amazing special lightsaber, or I could spend a couple hundred on a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One, and over time I could spend like the $60 and $50 or whatever random deal prices I get on all those games that I want. And so it's one of those things where like I probably end up doing that. I also want a Wii U, because I don't have a Wii U either, so I always kind of leave the Wii U out, kind of like a lot of developers do as well. But I want all three of the new systems. I always do want all the systems. I wanted a Wii when that first came out. Fortunately, I know people who actually have Wiis now, so I can play the couple of games that I really did want. So I can fortunately play my No More Heroes 1 and 2 and Dead Space and Mad World and Okami and stuff like that. But I do want all the new consoles. Like, the Wii U has Bayonetta 2, which I can't wait. If that somehow gets transferred to like PS4 and Xbox One, I don't know if I'll even care about the Wii U anymore, because like, really, that's it. It's like Bayonetta 2 is the only thing I need, and I'd be perfectly fine just having that on the Wii U. I plan on getting other stuff once I do eventually get the Wii U, but Bayonetta 2 is like the one for me on the Wii U. And then we have like PS4 and Xbox One, and those are of course going to have all their big exclusives. PS4 is going to of course have the Uncharted games. Xbox is going to have, at some point it's going to have yet another Gears of War, which isn't necessarily bad. It's, I guess better than both consoles constantly getting like Call of Duty, and I guess in some cases Assassin's Creed. I know there are of course a ton of issues with for some people, a ton of issues with Assassin's Creed. I still love it. I want to get Unity when I'm able to get a new console. It'll probably be next year before I'm even able to get a new console, so I'll be like 2 games behind on Assassin's Creed, which would be a little bit weird actually, because normally I'm a little bit behind. Like, I might not be able to get the newest one right when it comes out, but I'm at least able to get it. And this year I did actually get Rogue, so it's kind of the same thing. Like, I got it and I was able to have one of the newest ones, but since they did make 2 games this year, technically I'm still behind on the whole game. So it's kind of interesting in that sense. But I do definitely want all the new consoles. I would love to be able to get those new games and have all the cool new features that each game offers. The new amazing graphics for all these really great video games, which in some cases I could definitely do on my laptop as well for certain games. But some stuff, like there's some games you might know, like, all right, I play this specific game. Like, if you play Call of Duty, you might know like a bunch of your friends on PSN or something, and it's like, if we all get like PS4s, if I happen to have a PS4 and a PC, I can't get it for PC, because once my friends do get a PS4, it's like, well, now I can't play with them at all. So it's one of those things, like, even though I could get a ton of these games on PC, of course, pretty much all games are on PC for the most part. There are, those few exceptions, which are, of course, a lot of exceptions, but, in the grand scheme of things, there are a few exceptions. it's just like some stuff you kind of have to get on console because you're gonna play with your friends, and you wouldn't have that same opportunity if you bought the game on PC. And maybe if you're kind of like me, you also kind of just like to have that really cool collection where it's like, look at all these games I have from this one franchise, which you could easily do with Assassin's Creed or Call of Duty. And it's just like I have it all on like PS3, or going from PS3 to PS4 and stuff like that, or through Xbox 360 to Xbox One. And it's kind of cool. Like, you might be kind of OCD like I am a little bit, and you might really want that. And it's kind of one of those things that I do want, admittedly, in a certain sense. But having the consoles in general is something that's really important to me. Like, I really want those consoles because otherwise I can't possibly play those games. Like, I can't play the exclusive games. I can't play like the new Infamous game. I highly doubt they're gonna port Uncharted to the PC, which I would love, but I would still have to buy it for PS4 rather than PC, because I do have my couple of set friends where when Uncharted 3 came out, that was the game we played. So we're gonna do the same thing with Uncharted 4. So even if it came to PC, I'd kind of have to get it on PS4. But the new console generation in general is definitely, like, I think for pretty much everyone who loves games, that's the nerdy thing. Every new generation, it's like, well, I kind of have to get all of these or one of these. For some people, I think it's, of course, a lot easier if you're like, I only like Xbox or I only like PlayStation. For me, I just love games. So I think for people like me who are kind of just, I just want games in general, and you kind of just all across the board, you love it. For us, I think it's a bit more difficult because you do have to make that choice. Like, well, crap, the Wii U is the cheapest, but if I get the PS4, I'll be able to get more of the games that I really want to get. But I'll miss out on, like, that one beautiful gem. Like, for me, is Bayonetta 2, and I have friends who have the new Smash Brothers, so I have been fortunate enough to get to experience that and play it, and I do love that. Of course, it's it's Smash Brothers. That is, of course, like the Wii or any Nintendo console, that is the seller at this point. Here's the new Smash Brothers. But for me, it's like Bayonetta, but you gotta pick and choose. This thing's cheaper, and it's got like these 2 or maybe 3 games. But this one that is like $100, $150 or so more, you do get to have a bigger variety of games that you really want. You get the older stuff, which I could get Infamous much cheaper now compared to when the PS4 first came out and stuff. And then down the line, Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy, which I believe is only on PS4. I don't really remember. I could be easily wrong about that one. But just the exclusives, Uncharted, and stuff like that. So, new generation, it's just what I want. I got to get the new consoles. I want to play them. I want to experience the beautiful graphics, like, in front of me and not just, like, on my laptop. Like, oh, that looks really cool. I wish I could buy that game, when I get my $60 or whatever. So, new generation of consoles is definitely that new thing. And, kind of jumping off of that from, like, the new games to kind of what I would use my video games for at this point, at least with my YouTube channel, it's actually a lot of, like, equipment for videos. Like, one thing, I do have a game capture device, which I got the year before last for Christmas, because that's what I really wanted. Like, I want a good game capture device. I want some really good headphones so I can make videos. Unfortunately, that didn't work nearly as much as I was hoping it would. Like, it wasn't the device, it was really just my laptop. Like, some issues, like, some days it would be too much for my crappy old laptop. So there were certain cases, and just being able to only record when you're doing console gaming compared to being able to record on your laptop, it was really difficult for me. So that unfortunately didn't work out as much as I wanted it to. I'm able to get back into it a little bit more now, and I'm kind of working with it. And now I am with my better laptop. I'm able to record straight off of it and stuff, so I can record all the games I have on Steam, which I'd been waiting to do for so long. I have, like, so many games that, honestly, I haven't played at all. Like, I haven't even touched them, and I'm just like, I want this game because I know it's really good. I got it really cheap, whether it was super late or even if it just recently came out, it's Steam, so all those sales and stuff. I have the ability to do that now, so with my gaming videos, I'm good because I kind of got the devices that I wanted. I got my capture device a long time ago. I got my really good headset. I have my microphone now, which I got kind of over the summer and stuff, and that was one of the things. But for like my live action videos, I have like some nerdy things that I need, which is nerdy in like a more technical sense and not like, oh, just games and stuff like that. I need like all this fancy lighting equipment and crap, like all the stuff you see, and I need like a good external microphone and all these different, technically nerdy type of things. I need that stuff now, and I realize how much I need it and how useful it is. So those are the couple of things I want. Fortunately, those are like incredibly cheap compared to, oh, I just want a PS4. It's fortunately in the $30 to $50 area, some of that stuff. So that's much more likely to be purchased, really soon compared to pretty much anything else I've mentioned so far. But I definitely need that stuff. And really, like, I need, like I said, like the lighting, those really big fancy lights with all the setups. I don't even know what they're called. I just call them big light, big lights, those. I need, like I said, like an external microphone, which is fortunately, I think, like the cheapest thing I could get. And, I won't buy it cheap and get like a crappy version, but out of everything I do kind of need, I think it's the cheapest product out there. So that's actually really useful for me. That's actually pretty good that I can get that without too many issues. And then I have other stuff that I really need. Fortunately, I have a tripod, which was something I definitely needed for a really, really long time. And when I got my new camera, which was, once again, another nerdy thing I needed, it fortunately came with a really great tripod. So I love the fact that I have a really good tripod now, because for the longest time, and if you're a subscriber, you've probably heard me mention this before. If not, if you've seen pretty much any of the videos I've done, basically all last year, all of those videos are basically like, all right, here's my camera. Here's like a stack of DVDs under it to hold it up, because that's all I had, because the super cheap tripod that came with the camera was a super cheap tripod, and it just broke. Like one of the legs eventually just wouldn't hold anymore, and I couldn't use the tripod. And after that, it was like, crap, okay. I got like 2 shoe boxes. I got my infamous 2 like Hero Edition case. Like that was a really big help because I could just stand it straight up and it was tall. So it was just like boxes and DVDs and stuff to hold my to keep my camera in place, because I didn't have a tripod anymore. So I got that. Other stuff I need like soundproofing stuff, which really I can't get at this point because I don't really have a great place to just be like, all right, here's where I'm gonna put soundproofing like all over the walls. I honestly just need like my own place in order for that to even be useful, because otherwise it's just gonna be like my room at one of my parents' houses, which wouldn't really work. Like that probably wouldn't go over so well, like putting a bunch of soundproofing stuff all over the walls, especially in certain cases where it's like, as someone who kind of just leaves and I can, of course, do whatever I want, kind of. When we have guests over, if they stay in my room, it might be a little off-putting to just be like, why the F is there just foam all over the walls, and it sounds weird in here, because, I like soundproof the room for my gaming videos and stuff. But I do kind of need those things. I really want to get myself like the little like soundproof box for my microphone. That's what I really, really need for when I do gaming videos with friends and stuff. And those things are like incredibly expensive. I think those cost way more than the little external microphones, which I didn't think would be possible, because honestly it is just foam. I know it's a special type of foam, of course. It's not just like, here's some foam and poof, soundproof. But like when I looked that up before, it kind of blew my mind looking up like soundproofing and how much that stuff would cost. And it was like, holy crap, this is not cheap. And so I need that. But like I said, that wouldn't really come until like way far down the line, because I need stuff that is, I need stuff that goes into a set location, not something that I'm going to be tearing down over and over again. So I kind of need like just my own place in general in order for that to even be a remote possibility, or even really be able to look at that like, I'm gonna buy this at some point. Like right now it's just like, I need it, it would definitely help, but I don't have my own place. I can't just be like, all right, this is how the wall is gonna look with just foam and stuff all over the place. So that's kind of the unfortunate thing. It's kind of like I need 2 things for this to kind of come together for me, but fortunately, it's not too terrible. Like, fortunately, I think the greatest thing is that this mic is actually really good, and it does cut out a lot of excess noises. Like I could, snap while I'm talking and stuff, and I'm sure you heard that because it picks up stuff. And, if I was playing the game on the TV with other people, I wouldn't be able to use headphones. So that's why I need like the little soundproof box so that sound coming from the TV doesn't hit the mic and, it picks up all of that noise and stuff like that. So there are a lot of different things that come with it and stuff like that. But it's definitely one of those things, like all those things together. I just need little bits of equipment. I need editing, like a really good editing program. I have like a terrible one right now that shuts down my laptop if I do too much. Like it's a crappy program, which is funny. Like it's not the worst program that you can get. It's a free one. So that kind of, there you go. But it's not the worst free program you can get, but it definitely is like the one I can really use easily well. It has like an easy interface. But once I start like converting stuff, it uses like 100% of my disk space. Like it will push it. It's basically like a stress test on my laptop when I'm converting videos with this editing program that I have. And it works. It doesn't like shut my laptop down all the time. It was something it did do like with this new one I got when I think it had to kind of adjust and realize like this is what this program is going to do. So it kind of caught it off guard, I guess. I don't know. But fortunately, I figured my way around that and stuff. But I need like a really good editing program. I need something that I don't like. Initially, I wanted to get like Adobe Elements and stuff, and I believe I can get that, but I can't get like Pro unless I get the subscription, which I'm never gonna do. I will never pay, subscription based, because it's like I'm not gonna pay this much money every single month to make my videos. Even if I was making a bunch of money, it would just feel like a waste when I could just get one really good program, even if it lacks, a couple of features here and there. It's like it's just a much better purchase all around. So all my kind of editing and video based stuff, I need all those kind of nerdy things. And like I said, it's more of a technical type of nerdy thing compared to the other stuff I mentioned, where it's just like, I like this because of this movie, or because of this game and things like that. But it's definitely stuff that I need. I do need it. It's kind of nerdy because it's definitely nerdier considering the videos that I create, like me myself. It kind of just makes everything nerdy. So, I definitely count that on my list. And then of course, there's some other things, random, nerdy things that I really want, some other games and this and that. But those are definitely the big things for me. Like those are the big items where it's like, I really want these things. I really want to get the hoverboard. I really want to get the jacket from Back to the Future and kind of be able to celebrate Back to the Future Part 2 by the end of this year. I really want to get all the new consoles for this generation. I highly doubt that'll happen. I might get, if I happen to get a bunch of money for Christmas, I might actually end up getting one this year, like one of the consoles, not like all of them. That would be amazing, but I highly doubt it. I'd love to get, an FX lightsaber, all the other stuff I need for my videos, all the nerdy things that I want. That's kind of my just random jumbled list. Like I said, I really want to know what you guys have. Like, what are those really big nerdy items, whether it's technically nerdy, like, I mentioned with my video equipment and all that stuff, or if it's just, pop culture nerdy, where it's like, you want like a life-size, stormtrooper or something like Barney Stinson. And sorry if you don't get that reference, but it's from How I Met Your Mother. Whatever your list is, whether it's 10 items, 5 items, like I said early on, if it's just that one item, I don't care. I want to know what your items are. I want to know what random nerdy thing do you covet after that you just, it's kind of that, it's like, it's not exactly a life goal, but it's definitely somewhere in there. Like it's an honorable mention, kind of on your life goal type of list. So please put your list down in the comment section below. Of course, if you guys have any topics you want me to talk about, nerdy or not, once again, put those down in the comment section below. Of course, thank you guys for listening, and, please listen to the next episode. Please tell your friends, rate and subscribe. I don't think you can really rate videos on YouTube anymore. I don't know, but please subscribe. Check out some of my other videos. I'm, kind of getting into a lot of my gaming videos. So if you've been listening to my podcast and you've seen that I've been uploading some gaming videos, please check those out. If you have any suggestions for gaming videos, if you happen to like the ones that I've already put up, please put those, your ideas down in the comment section below. I have a ton of video games. I have, like I mentioned, I have an NES still. I can play, my NES games. I have a Super Nintendo. I could technically play my PlayStation games on my PS3. All those, any suggestions you guys have for either this podcast or my gaming videos, please put them down in the comment section below. And like I said, thanks for listening.